XRP's price has been dropping recently, but I think something is going on that people aren't realizing is probably one of the biggest sneak attacks, let's call it, that the XRP community has been waiting for. So in today's video, we're going to be going through, sorry, I almost just knocked something off my desk at XRP right now. You can see we had this wedge pattern formation happen before, right? And then we broke out of it. I was buying here and I was buying here. We then went on to push to the upside. We had another wedge pattern form again, and we could argue that I was actually wrong in my estimates of the resistance. And now we have maybe a new pattern that I otherwise miscategorized before, which could look more like that depending on how you are looking at it. Now, it's okay to be wrong sometimes. Sometimes we don't get everything right, but the important thing is that I stick to my strategy. So you can see I still have this region here of liquidity. This region was where I last added to my trade, which you see below. I have 3,000 XRP in the profit, which is 345% gain. I also opened another XRP trade right here live on this channel as we entered that region. Now, these are the regions that I consider higher risk, but higher reward for this pattern trade that I was doing. I don't trade just on technicals. I trade using technicals like these liquidity zones, like resistance, like support, and then also fundamental and sentiment, right? So the sentiment in the market right now is about a day ago, before we had this big push to the downside for Bitcoin, this big, huge push to the downside here that everyone's scared about, when really, when you're zoomed out, it doesn't actually look that scary. But before this happened, right, the market was predominantly long on Bitcoin. That's what we've seen. $1.62 billion worth of long positioned absolutely wrecked in this market. So most people were long on Bitcoin, meaning most people were long on basically the whole market. Now, the market makers, the manipulators, and whatever it is decided that's not okay. We're going to grab that liquidity by pushing the market down and wrecking all these traders. Now we're seeing something interesting happening. The shorts are piling in. And this is why there's so much manipulation in the space, because people love to go long when the price is up and they love to go short when the price is down. Traders should be doing the opposite if they want to make the best of that move, right? You shouldn't be following everyone else when they're going long, because that's when things could crash. It's already happened. The move, that the trade, if you were to use high leverage, has already happened. So I wouldn't be using high leverage in a situation like that. I'd be trying to get in when everyone else is against it. Right now, using this data, we can see that everyone else is against XRP. The majority of people are short. This isn't a guaranteed science, but it's very clear to me that the market is thinking one way. Now, what's this sneak attack I'm talking about? Well, Grayscale's CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF GDLC begin trading, which offers exposure to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Cardano. This right here, Grayscale's large cap fund, was just approved for trading alongside generic listing standards. The Grayscale team is working expeditiously to bring the first multi-crypto asset ETP to the market with Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana. Thank you to the SEC task force for their continued unmatched efforts in bringing the regulatory clarity the industry needs. So everything's changed since old mates left. And from my understanding, this isn't actually an ETF with all of these cryptos so far, but what it is, right, is a big move. So US lawmakers are requesting the SEC to implement President's executive order, which aims to open up $12.5 trillion 401k retirement market to crypto. So couple that with the fact that we have an Ethereum ETF, we have an XRP, we have a Bitcoin, we have Dogecoin as well. And then soon enough, we may have this basket of stocks, which includes XRP. I think this basket of stocks is going to be the altcoin catalyst that nobody is expecting, but I think it's going to be massive, because imagine we now soon will have the opportunity to treat crypto like the S&P 500. And what I mean by that is you buy one stock and it gives you exposure to the crypto market. Just like you buy one stock, the S&P 500 in the form of SPX, for example, and you buy exposure to the stock market. This will make people a lot more prone to dollar cost averaging, to getting exposure, and this will flood the market with liquidity. And if Donald Trump's executive order here actually comes into fruition, and there could be just 1%, 10%, whatever you want of this $12 trillion retirement market, it could be huge for crypto. And because XRP is the third largest crypto and it will be held in these ETFs that have a basket of crypto, I think will be massive for XRP, and people aren't pricing this in at all. Now, we did see the market fall a lot since the rate cuts, but I want you guys to be aware of what's happened in the past. If we cast our mind back to 2019, we got our first rate cut here. And a lot of people don't even know, but the 2017 bull market was here, the 2021 bull market was here, and there's a little known DeFi summer, which was essentially a mini bull market right there in the middle. Now, we had a big push to the upside, which is very similar to this big push to the upside. We then started to come down. We had a bounce, right? That could be considered like we're having here. And then we got our first rate cut. Everyone thought this was going to be extremely bullish for the market. Everyone thought it was going to be the start of the bull market. In fact, it was the start of the bull market, but we had to sustain from there to here another 230 days of downside momentum. So 230 days of downside from the first rate cut, which resulted in 60% down before a 1,500% move up. This is the history. So anyone who tells you that when rate cuts happen, there is no way we could go down because the liquidity is going to flood into the market and everyone is going to become a millionaire. It's not the case. That's not how things normally happen. There is extreme volatility, and what we need to do is make it through the volatility in order to have the fruits of our labor. The only way we do that is we hold on to assets that we genuinely believe in. We only trade following strategies that don't make us have emotion, and we stay patient and we strike when the iron is hot. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's what results in my profits that I've seen this bull market so far. And hopefully you guys will be able to currently see these profits or in the future be able to see these profits. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.